What happens when you want to play a cleric of God? A Christian God at that. Well, the closest you can get to that, I think, is a cleric of ill matter. And what happens when their teachings don't really get through to sinners, let's say? Before we get into things, well, this player is a religious person. I know not all religious people are like this. Anyway, I've been playing TTRPGs on and off for the past few years, but I found myself dry after leaving a long-time group of friends. So I went to the most reputable places possible to find a game. Requests for online TTRPGs in nerd shops. One Discord invite later, I was in the server, meeting the cast. The DM of our party, actually an absolutely excellent person with a few flaws that made the story horrific. Fundy, the problem player, a very religious person who enjoyed passionate sermons. A few other people were present, but they didn't contribute to the story in any major way. We get to character creation, and I decided to pull out my usual character, a paladin who broke her oath because she was tired of being strict and holy. She was constantly a bit jaded, foul-mouthed, and sat at a 45-degree angle in her seat, being generous. Fundy played a cleric of the... I'm gonna call it God, because it definitely was meant to be. He had Christian tenets, he often spoke Bible verses, so on and so forth. Session 0 went pretty well, and afterwards Fundy messaged me. He wanted our characters to have a backstory together. Basically, he wanted the church I left to be his, and he was trying to lead me back to the Lord. I agreed, because I thought it'd be fun RP and stuff, and I had no intention to have my character return to God. Agreeing was a bad idea. Most downtime was spent with Fundy trying to convince my character to abandon her sinful ways and return to his loving embrace. My character, being a bit of an abrasive prick, would tell him, shove off, or if he's so loving, why is the world so fucked up? Every time I did this, I heard an exasperated breath from his microphone. Eventually, another player messaged me. She liked how our characters interacted and wondered if they could begin an in-game relationship. I agreed, and this went pretty well. Her character started to draw mine out of her edgy, brooding shell, and the two of them shared some pretty adorable moments. Fundy didn't like this. His character's long tirades now mention her as well. He'd say things like, you don't want to drag her down the path as well, and women should not lie with one another. You need a man of the cloth, not another woman. My character would try to intimidate him to fuck off at that. After the session, I messaged the DM to say that Fundy's rhetoric was making me uncomfortable. The DM said that Fundy wasn't like that IRL, he was just playing his character. This sucks. This could have been such a fun trope and such good chemistry between the characters. However, this person is taking everything way too personally and is literally just injecting his own self into the character. This guy is literally trying to convert PC here to go back to God. And it's just kinda awkward. Eventually, Fundy posted some art of our characters, AI-generated art at that. My character was depicted as a blonde girl with pale skin and gorgeous plate armor. Now, dear readers, my paladin was black, with dark brown hair, and studded leather armor. When I brought this up to him, he said, well, this is what I imagine her to look like, but whatever you say. I was a bit perturbed at this, and messaged the DM again. He said something along the lines of, I can't change what already exists, but I'll talk to Fundy. I don't know if he did. Eventually, things broke down. The PC my character was attached to died, and my character retreated back into her shell. She took it badly, becoming moody and confrontational. Fundy saw this as time to preach to her again, talking about how this was a prime time to repent for my sins and return to my father, so she may be honored in heaven. My character said, go away, or my next sin will be cutting you down. This was intended as an empty threat, as I'd done to other PCs, and never followed up, even having my character apologize for being a tool later. Fundy didn't take this like that. Fundy challenged my character to a duel, saying that if he won, she'd have to return to the Order. Given this was a kinda bad cleric versus an optimized to hell and back paladin, I absolutely whipped his ass. My character healed him, and I decided to be a bit of an ass, saying, maybe if you spend more time learning to fight, you'd be able to convince me. Fundy flipped out, screaming about how I was a cheater, a sinner, a racist, a sexist, a homophobia, and how I should get some Christian husband to take pity on me. He ended his initial screaming rampage with, and you're attacking my religion. And there we are. After everything and all the red flags being raised, we finally reached the trifecta. Racist, sexist, homophobe allegations. And only a good Christian husband can take pity on her. Yup. Brother, the church doesn't even claim you at this point. You're just being a weirdo. And you're so out of touch. That is just obnoxious at this point. The DM kept trying to calm him down, but he kept screaming and screaming. Eventually, I left the call. The DM sent me a message later apologizing and say how he didn't see this coming at all. I told him that he was stupid for not seeing it coming, and I was giving an ultimatum. Either he kicks Fundy or I'm leaving. The DM agreed he made some mistakes and kicked out Fundy, saying his character died in our duel. Fundy sent me a few private messages later, continuing his berating and use of slurs, demanding I stop being into women and come to God, or I'll be unloved and burn in hell. I called him a bitch and blocked him. Religious people can get intense at times, and there might be people out there that want the best for you, in their own heads. Being obnoxious and pushing your beliefs into someone else is not alright. It can be very funny as a trope, but it's always the same issue with most of these problems. When you take things out of character, there is always an issue. I can't stop thinking of this guy. The moment something would happen that's not in the Bible or go according to his beliefs, he would just scream, "Blasphemy!" And then the Burger King copy pasta would play out. Regardless, don't push your beliefs, whatever they are, onto other people, especially when they're clearly uncomfortable. Now, the PCs and DMs resolve to the entire thing is quite adequate. At the end of the day, if someone is being an issue and making people uncomfortable, you just kick them out. Regardless, I hope they do have better games in the future and people that match their group. I'll see you on the next one.